My name is Nicole Gomez, and I teach French at Southern Guilford High School. I teach French levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've been teaching French for 23 years. I have a bachelor's degree in French education from UNC Chapel Hill and a master's degree in French literature from UNC Chapel Hill. And I've been nationally board certified in French for the last 8 years. I recorded my answers to the questions that you sent me, and part of this I would like to read just to make sure that I get everything in. So we're going to start with question number 1, which is, why are you interested in teaching for the GCS virtual public schools? I'm interested in this new platform for teaching French and reaching students outside of the traditional classroom. I think virtual schools and virtual classrooms are what students are going to be using more and more in the 21st century, and it will help kids get ready for the platforms that they are going to be using in college. It offers one-on-one interaction with each student in an environment where they're not afraid to ask a question and be afraid of what their peers might think about them if they don't know the answer in class. One-on-one, I can build on their strengths and talk them through areas of difficulty. The kids can be very creative with technology assignments through the virtual school outside of traditional classrooms with things that I like to use like blogs and Powtoons and Voki. I'll talk more about those later. Virtual schools allow kids to retest and grow from their mistakes by learning how to correct them and strive toward a better understanding of the concept. It's not just a one-time shot, pass or fail with each assignment. I like the fact that I can do a redo button on every assignment. Students can fit the lessons and work around their regular routine, their work schedule, and other activities by not being tied to a traditional classroom setting and traditional school hours. Also, I can provide individual feedback for every student and on as many assignments as needed in a very easy format. So communication will be a lot easier through using the Blackboard, the announcements, email, ooVoo for video chat, and phone calls with the students. So next question, what is your understanding of teaching and learning in an online environment? So I know that I will need to check assignments and student progress daily and offer help where needed. Also set up times to video chat and conference. I'm beginning to make teaching video snippets to post online for teaching grammar concepts to help students study in my traditional classroom as well as online, outside of class, and to reinforce what we've been learning in class. So I think that will be very helpful for the online students. I know that I will have students who take online French for many different reasons. Some of them may have failed the class in school. Some may want to graduate early. Some may have dropped out of the traditional schools but are still wanting to get their credits and graduate. So they will be coming from different backgrounds with various abilities as learners, and so I will need to respond to that on a case-by-case basis with each one. So I think the most important thing, first of all, is to make sure that they have access to a computer and also the internet. So that's the first thing I'll need to check. I realize that students who are new to online learning will face an uphill challenge at first, just trying to use the program and to navigate the program. Another thing that will be difficult for them is not having face-to-face instruction when their whole lives probably they've had a face-to-face teacher in a traditional setting, and they'll have to get used to trying to do a little more on their own without the teacher right there beside them. So in the beginning, I think I will need to be more available to help them navigate the program and answer questions about workload and expectations for a virtual school. I will need to hold regular office hours where I'm available to speak with them over the phone or through the online chat program. Next question, describe 3 strategies or resources that you would use to engage your students in your online course. I like to use a lot of different technologies in my traditional classroom already to increase student engagement and to reach my teenagers with things that appeal to them. So one of the popular programs that I use already is Voki, and this is where the students get to create an avatar. They can record themselves speaking the language. And about a topic that I assign them. The great thing about this is they can record. If they don't like the recording, re-record, and do that as many times as they wish to get the best recording or best pronunciation. I think that fits perfectly with virtual school because it would be something that they do with the other assignments in virtual school as well, to retry and retry until they feel that they've got the concept mastered. So once the students have recorded their voice on their Voki, they email me the link and I can listen to their Voki and grade their assignment based on a rubric. And the more they practice speaking, the better they get at speaking French, so it's a great option for them. I also like to use Powtoons, which is a new animated cartoon program, and we can teach a grammar lesson through that. I like to post those for my students online to review grammar that we've done in class. I also have the students create Powtoons, where I will assign them a topic like illustrating a story that we've read in class. Sometimes they go back and retell the story in a different verb tense. or simply describe themselves according to the grammar of the lesson that we're learning. And they record their speech on the computer, then they animate it with characters and pictures and text and music and all kinds of other features to create an original movie in the target language. And again, I think that works great with the virtual school. I also like to set up chapter reviews on Quizlet.com, where students can log in at their leisure and see the vocabulary for the unit. They can press a button to hear the word in French, and they can listen to that as many times as they wish until they get the pronunciation down just right. There are also a couple of games that they can play on Quizlet to challenge their understanding after they flip through the flashcards and learn the vocabulary. And at the end, there is a quiz that they can take, and this can help them to assess their readiness potentially for the online chapter test or quiz by practicing with Quizlet first. So those are just 3 of the things that I like to use traditionally and I think will work great with public school. Next question, what do you see as the difference in teaching students in an online setting versus a classroom? I see a lot of advantages to teaching in the online platform. First of all, there are a lot of opportunities to give individualized feedback for every student on as many assignments as I wish. I have the opportunity to log in when it's convenient with me and respond to students about their progress and encourage them. The program is set up really well from what I've seen, and I can click on any student and instantly see how they're progressing in my class, what work has turned in, what is still missing, how quickly they've been working through the unit, if they need to spend a little more time on something, which questions and objectives they've mastered and which ones we need to go back and spend some more time on. So it provides a great way for me to do differentiation of instruction, which I really like. Instead of rehashing a concept with an entire class when there are only 1 or 2 who may be struggling with that, I can pinpoint those 2 students and have them get with me online through the video chat or also on the phone, and we can rework that concept with which they're struggling. There will also be challenges insofar as setting up times to video chat with them, making sure that I can address their needs without a traditional setting and without being able to meet with them face to face. So students are going to need a great deal of self-motivation to work through the units and the assignments at a good pace and make sure they don't fall behind. So I will need to be an online cheerleader as well, and rather than a face-to-face one, which is what I've done my whole career in the traditional setting. So overall, I like the freedom that the program gives the teacher to set her hours and the freedom that it gives the students to get their work done when it fits their schedule. So next question. How would you support your students who are not excelling or accessing your online class? So for students who cannot access the online course, we need to talk about that and find a way where they can have access to a computer and to the internet. So some options traditionally have been to go to the public library if they have transportation. Coming to school, they can use the Media Center as a guest here. If they have a laptop but no internet at home, they could go to a public place that offers free Wi-Fi. So this really needs to be dealt with, I think, on a case-by-case basis depending on what the needs are for each student. So I would need to get with them and speak with them first in order to figure out where we go from there. For students who are not excelling, I think communication is the key. So I imagine that most of the students might be having trouble because they're not spending enough time on the lessons to really absorb the material. So they will have to be self-motivated to a great extent to find a quiet place to log in and focus in order to really learn the vocabulary and the grammar for each unit. Some may simply have trouble with foreign language, and that's where I will really need to come in as far as using the video chat and speaking with them one-on-one, where it will do the most good. I can explain grammar concepts or vocabulary to them individually, and I can also prepare extra practice for each student as needed based on the objective with which they're struggling. And I like that I can link this extra practice to the syllabus, but I don't have to include it in the gradebook. So I can offer as many additional activities and exercises as needed for each student that doesn't reflect on their grade, but just offers them the support and the scaffolding that they need. So I offer 5 learning labs per week at my school, and if a student has transportation, they're welcome to come and meet with me face-to-face if they just really need that contact. I'm happy to use the resubmit button on the assignments as much as I need in order to get that student to master that concept. I think it only benefits the student to go back and redo an assignment that they maybe did not understand fully or had not completely learned that concept. They go back and do it again. It reinforces the language. So I think that's a great tool. Ideally, they'll get better every time they turn in a test or quiz if they redo it, and many of the technologies I assign them are designed to be redos, and they can do it as many times as possible, like the Voki. If they record themselves 5 times before they finally submit it to me, that's 5 times they've practiced French, and and I think that works great with the public school. I like having a class discussion or an open chat room online that will really benefit the students who are struggling, because a lot of times they learn from each other better than they do from teachers. So having a peer explain something, maybe more in a peer language rather than teacher speak, and I think that will get through to them very well. So number 7, what would you say is the most important factor in teaching students in an online environment? As I said before, I think lots of communication and having me be available as much as possible is the really important thing. I will need to offer tech support for those who have trouble navigating the online program, so I would like to be able to use the link feature. I don't know if I have access to be able to see the monitor that they're using and talk them through the buttons and navigating the program. I think that will help. I will need to grade assignments as quickly as possible and return them to the students so they can monitor their progress on a daily basis. I'm known to be a very quick grader in my traditional school. I never hold a test or quiz longer than 1 day without returning it to my students so they can check their grades and make decisions and choices going forward on how much more they need to study and apply themselves. Individualized feedback will be essential in the virtual school to help students work on their areas of weakness and build on their strengths. So 8, how are you going to fit this opportunity into your current workload? So I always arrive at Southern Guilford 1 hour before school starts. I drop my daughter off at elementary school at 7:30 and I come straight to Southern. So I have an hour every morning to sit and reflect on what I'm going to be doing for the day and set my lessons out before me in the traditional school, and so I know that I could fit that in with the public school as well, logging in, checking assignments, grading what I can in that first hour of the day. I would need to speak to my students and find out when would be the best time to be available for the online video conferencing and set up a kind of virtual office hours with the students. I have computers in my house and internet, and I have an office upstairs. I could very easily go and tell my family this is the hour when I'm going to be online and have that time to meet with the students one-on-one and address their needs. I also am going to be bringing a lot of materials and online programs that I already use to my traditional classroom, from my traditional classroom, and so that learning curve I've already climbed. I know a lot of things that are going to be great to support language learners in learning French, so I will have that already set up, and hopefully the online school students will respond well to those. On a scale of 1 to 4, 4 being most comfortable, how well do you adapt to using new technologies? So I think for most technologies, at least the ones that I use to support students with French, I adapt very well. I spent a lot of time over the summer researching and trying out new programs that I think will benefit my students and that they will enjoy in learning a foreign language. I've been a presenter twice at the Foreign Language Association of North Carolina, that's the FLANC conference, where I have instructed teachers from across the state of North Carolina on how to use technology to support language learners. And in each of those sessions, I presented a minimum of 7 different programs that are free for educators and are designed specifically for using foreign language, and am proud to say that in both of those conferences I was voted by my peers as one of the top 10 presenters for usefulness of the material that I presented, the way in which the material was presented, and how friendly those programs are for the new teachers then to take and employ in their classrooms. So I do feel like a 4 as far as programs that support language learning. As far as learning the virtual school format, this is new to me, and I will spend a lot of time learning this program so that it becomes natural and very comfortable for me to use it. I think I'm probably at a 3 with that now, but I know after teaching 1 class, I will feel extremely confident with this program. So there will be a steep learning curve at first, but I know that I will overcome that and be comfortable with this technology as I am with all the others that I use. So I thank you very much for this opportunity, and hope that I will be teaching with the public school very soon. Okay, thank you.